I'm back. So let's talk about facts. I just want to move back to systemic racism because you mentioned systemic racism earlier. I just want to look at 3 applications of systemic racism against white people and against East Asians as well. So for example, we have the National College Attainment Network, which defines affirmative action or even race-conscious admissions as taking race as one of the factors in whether or not you're going to admit a student. And we noticed that when race-conscious admissions was out of it, black enrollment dropped 64%. At UC Berkeley. And that is an act of systemic racism. Trying to look at people's races and allow them into colleges whether or not they're of a set race is racism. And it's race conscious. And Martin Luther King's most famous quote is that he doesn't want his children to be judged based on race, but by the content of their character. And the content of people's characters also includes merit. We have another example of systemic racism. Burgess Owens. He's a representative out of Utah. He's a black Republican representative. He called out the MIT president for having black-only dormitories. I mean, what does that mean? Why are we trying to segregate each other and say that black people feel safer amongst black people when the truth is they are actually more in danger when they're around black people? And that's unfortunate. It's sad that I'm saying this, but it's the case, and I have to say it because it's true. Okay, black people are killing each other at a vast, crazy rate. Black men rapping about it. It's savagery. It's barbaric, and we shouldn't be doing it as a people. We should try to get more Ben Carsons. Ben Carson's cousins were murdered when he was younger, but his mother came to him and gave him a book and told Ben Carson to read and study to not be like his cousins. And Ben Carson separated 2 twins at the back of the head, and he's known as one of the best renowned neurologists or neuroscientists that we've ever seen, right?
Ben Carson said that slaves were immigrants.
Well, they were brought here to the United States, and many of them were slaves, and we know that to be a fact.
What is the difference between someone being an immigrant and being a stolen person?
I mean, I understand that many people were stolen here, but 90% of historians agree that slavery would have not been possible if black slave owners within Africa didn't sell off their people. White people didn't show up and just start stealing people. They didn't do that. That's not how that worked.
They literally did that.
But they didn't. They worked with black owners and
the Arabs. They literally did that. And Arabs did that as well. And I think it's very important. And I think it's important to note that there is an oversimplification of history as well as of black people in Africa. There's a failure to acknowledge that in Africa, black people did not consider themselves black people. That was a racial distinction that was solely created by white oppressors to legitimize slavery.
Arab oppressors, actually, because the Arabs did it in the 7th century. They were the first ones.
They did not name it under blackness. They simply just decided we're going to go and have enslavers. This was a decision that was actualized and then tried to be pushed forward through eugenics. Literally, there was an executive order that was passed a few months ago that said that Donald Trump wants to now control the museums because he wants to take back control of the narrative around race. And in one of these museums that they cited was that there was a display that speaks about race not as a biological thing, but as something that has just been created as a social construct. And he stated that that is an incorrect expression of race, that race is biological.
But it is biological. Like, let's look at our phenotypical traits, the nose differences, the hair texture. It's a biological thing.
Oh, baby.
Sure, there's a social concept, but there's biological differences that exist.
You're very convicted in your lack of information around these things. Race and ethnicity are 2 different things, okay? Ethnicity is where you're from. Race is literally something that was created to put people into categories of caste, to put people into categories of oppression. Race is not something that you are. Race is something that was bestowed and put upon you.
That's racism, not race. Race is simply the aggregation. No, race is literally something that was created and put upon you. And I want you to listen to me as somebody who has studied this, who has a master's in African American Studies from the Institute for Research in African American Studies at Columbia University. I want you to understand very clearly that race is not something that is biological. There is literally look at the differences.
There is many differences that are equated to ours that has nothing to do with race.
Melanin content is not biological at all.
So if you have a black parent and you have a white parent, and now you come out looking white, how is that a biological proof of your race?
Most of them come out having curly hair.
Stop. There's no most of them. You do not have anything to prove that.
You're mixed race too.
I am not mixed race. My mother is black and my father is black.
Well, my father is also considered black, but he's very much has a lot of European DNA.
You know what I think? I think that you are at a phase of your learning where you are a contrarian, and I look forward to seeing your development because I have a feeling that you're actually going to flip the script eventually, because you are somebody that definitely is grounded in wanting to learn facts and wanting to learn the truths of things. However, you're currently still stuck in an indoctrinated space that is tricking you into thinking that you are something that you are not. You are a black person who is literally having to receive the results of racism, but ultimately you are of an ethnicity that has thrived in spite of it. And that is where we really exist from. And that is where our resilience comes from in spite of systemic racism.
I think our resilience is happening now. I think growing, understanding the real problems, not going out and trying to protest against, you guys don't ever do this. KTS.
You
Dre,
guys don't ever do that.
KTS
Who is you guys?
Members of the black community that want to hold people accountable, especially black people. So KTS Dre was shot 60 times outside of Cook County, Chicago. How many BLM members came out? You earlier said BLM is about
referring
police.
to me as you guys.
Okay, that's fine. So, for example, we had a really good example of this where it's not a police, because I remember you said...
Where are you from?
Where am I from? What do you mean by that? Like, what state am I from? Where was I born?
Where do you live right now?
I live in Florida. I was born in Angola, though. I was born in sub-Saharan Africa, okay?
Where did you grow up for most of your time?
In Maine. I lived in North America.
In Maine?
Yes.
And what is the population of black people in the town that you're from?
It's really extremely low, but I grew up around black people, and there's a black community where I lived.
And that black community that you lived in, did they teach you about black history in the United States?
Like,
are your parents black American?
Yeah, my mom is black. My father is black.
No, I'm asking, were they born in the United States?
No, because I wasn't born there.
Oh, so you guys are all from Angola?
Yes. But again, like I told you earlier, right, in terms of people like KTS Dre that were shot, BLM doesn't come out for them. And I remember you earlier said,
think it's really
hold on, can I please finish? You earlier said that BLM is worried about police, but when Daniel Penny choked out the man that we all know was causing violence on that subway train,
he was not causing violence.
He was threatening people.
Causing disruption is not causing violence.
He was threatening people.
Causing disruption is not causing violence.
And the people there helped him also. And we know that we helped them.
I don't know what that has to do with BLM. Random people on a train is not Black Lives Matter.
BLM showed up for that. They did.
Showed up for what?
BLM showed up threatening white people, saying that they're going to go get white people. Now they
BLM
did.
protested.
BLM New York.
BLM protested. Where did you get that from? You see, your sources are not. You're not able to cite your sources. Please go sit down.
Yeah, that's the truth.
It's not the truth. It's not the truth. It's not the. Nothing you say is actually the truth. Nothing. You're not even American. You're not even a black American. As the daughter of an immigrant, it is imperative that black people from other places understand the disparate difference that they exist from black people in the United States. It is not the same. Period. And ultimately, the best effort that we can do as a diaspora is to lead in understanding, not in judgment. So when I am talking to somebody from Sudan, from the Congo, from Angola, I am listening to understand their experience, not to undermine it. And I refuse to allow anybody from Grenada, from Angola, from any other place to come and try to undermine the experience of black Americans. So you're suggesting that it was okay for slaves' bodies to not only be used for labor, but also used to empower those who are harming them to be fairly represented in government?
I think it's absolutely, they should have been used, period.
Okay,
I think it was
so then we agree on that.
Yeah,
so we agree on that.
It was absolutely abhorrent. There's no excuse for it. There's no justification for it.
So then where's the argument? Because ultimately, when there was an opportunity in Reconstruction for there to be equality and humans considered in a real way and protected,
Democrats torched it. Andrew Johnson.
Yes. As well as the Supreme Court. That's actually more important what we have to acknowledge. The Supreme Court torched it. The Supreme Court has actively, throughout this entire existence of this nation, been at the forefront of impeding any advancement, and it ends up sending us back over and over and over again because it doesn't have term limits, because it doesn't have term limits. You know, it's not elected, it's appointed. And ultimately, they have made it abundantly clear that they pick and choose when it's the states that are going to have rights and when they're going to be in a federal position of precedence.
Well, that has to do with the supremacy clause. So the supremacy clause is when a federal law is in conflict with the state's law. The federal law will override. For example, in California, weed is legal, right?
But federally,
it's not. So they can come down here and they could say, hey, we're going to raid all these places, and they would be completely in line with the law. And
so this is how segregation and discrimination ended up existing even after the civil rights laws of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were passed, because Congress said we need to protect black people, and the Supreme Court said we actually are not going to give you the right to do so. For what it's worth, I think we can do this back and forth all day, but at the end of the day, I will completely agree with you. Black people need to let the Democrats go. I think black people need to let both of these parties go and figure out a way to move forward together in our own nation.
You know what? I can actually get on with that because, you know, I don't believe that all Republicans are, you know, good and not using us as well. I agree with that. You know, I agree with that. And
let's sing a duet.
I'm for no matter what color skin you are, of black, whatever it is, think for yourself.
able
to. I'm gonna let you speak, but let's not get the attitudes and stuff, because you're my sister and I respect you. So
I don't have an attitude. I'm being direct to you.
But how you domestic violence, women or men, or even attack, what is the first thing we say? It's like, you know what? It's not your what? It's not your fault. So that's what we do. We hold on to this narrative that, well, it's not our fault, and the issues in our community, they're not our fault, and the white man needs to give us something. The old white lady down the street is looking at me, and I don't know why she got braids in her hair. And we focus on all these other stupid things that don't matter. We don't get to the root of the fact that we're killing each other at a higher rate than any other race. It is self-hatred amongst us. I believe that we can do that. That my cousin, my mom's cousin, excuse me, coming from the church parking lot, and guess who stuck her up and robbed her at gunpoint? A black man.
I need you to get to the point.
Like,
so
my
I can
point
respond.
is that, no, and I'm not trying to be funny. Unless, like you said, we're going to keep it respectful.
Yeah, but you're monopolizing the whole conversation.
I'm
We're
not
not
trying.
being
Okay, I'm
able
going to let
to
you speak, but let's not get the attitudes and stuff, because you're my sister and I respect you. So
I don't have an attitude. I'm being direct to you. But you're literally
them,
speaking this, and you're not going to do that with me either.
Okay,
so you're
I'm
stating your
respecting
point, and you've been stating your point for quite some time.
So
do you have a reason for me to respond?
Would you allow me to respond? So that's a better response. Go ahead.
The response that I have for you is that everything you're saying does not exist in a vacuum. I actually agree with you in that, yes, there has been an incredible denigration of Black worth and Black pride in this nation. I think it's also very important to acknowledge what has contributed to that. And to state that it is only Black people that have contributed to that is a false flag. So we have to admit that. So in order to have this conversation around how we got here, you can't say, oh, well, we're caring about the white woman getting braids and that doesn't matter and this thing. All of that attaches. All of that is actually a very big part of the lack of worth of Black people.
I'll ask you, do you think we're resilient? What does resilience mean to you? Do you think we have to be perpetual victims, or do you think that Black people are resilient?
I think that those are two different conversations. Because I think that the concept of Black people being victims is really trying to not provide accountability to where the root problem for the actual cause is. And if we keep saying that somebody is a victim and that doesn't mean that the other person should have to actually have accountability, then what are we really doing?
I refuse to embrace a victim mentality, because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity.
Do not bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby, please.
They said the Lord's name in vain. The Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah. You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad. Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
Come on in.
You know who helped her?
God and
people who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things
it's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
No, sir,
it's
that's simply not true.
There's no such. I mean,
if that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power when they do not have the power.
Because their culture. Black culture is toxic. The Black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the Black home. Let's talk about that.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit.
It's
not gonna work. No, it's a debate. Has to be in fact.
You're putting off emotional liberalism right now.
I am not putting off emotional liberalism. You're putting off unfounded lies based in conservatism.
Misinformation. Remember they did the misinformation thing all summer where everything conservative did. They said misinformation.
You're carrying a chain around your neck of an apartheid nation that actively wants to harm Black people and non-Jewish people. But let me bring it back.